Hi, I'm Atakume and welcome back to the video. And in this video, I am joined by two special guests, Andres and Ben. Do you guys want to introduce yourselves?
Hi guys, I'm Andres. I have a YouTube channel called First Cut where we talk about Attack on Titan. We had Atakume on, so it was a lot of fun to be on this channel now. Yeah, it's exciting.
Yeah, same. You can find me everywhere at the Ben Goddard guys, YouTube, Twitch, all that good stuff. But yeah, so happy to we have so lucky to have Atakume on our channel talking about one of the episodes, and I'm so happy to be here talking about the top 10 of season 4. It's gonna be fun.
Yes, I am so excited. Thank you for joining me. So like Ben said, today we are going to be going through our top 10 moments of season 4, part 1 of Attack on Titan. Oh, it was hard making this list. I don't know about you guys, but I found it so hard to make this list because, as we know, season 4 of Attack on Titan was insane. But the way that we're going to do this video is that each of us are going to go through our 10 to 7, and then our 6 to 4, and then our top 3 moments, discussing why we like these moments, why some of us might not like these moments, and why we put them in this place. And if there's any that we share, then we'll maybe leave them for later or talk about them now. And yeah, I think we're just going to start because I cannot wait to get into this.
Yeah.
So I guess I'll go first, and then we'll go run in a circle like that.
Mm-hmm.
So for number 10, my favorite moment for 10 was Abby and Kaya's conversation. The whole when Gabby and Falco came to stay with Sasha's parents, that was insane to me. And then how Kaya knew and she didn't do anything about it. And then we all led to that moment when Gabby and Kaya spoke and Kaya talked about how, why did my mother have to be killed and all that. I thought that was insane. It was such an intense moment to me. I felt like the tension was rising until the breaking point. And what I loved the most about that moment is that Gabby doesn't even know what to say by the end of it. I feel like she's just driven into a hole. What do you guys think about the moment?
It's beautiful. I really do feel like it's definitely one of those things where it's pushing back on Gabby's brainwashing and the way she was trained to believe one way, and then the way that she broke it down, which is like, what did my mom do? And she's like, well, you know, the Eldians. And she's like, no, but what did my mom do to deserve this? And she kept repeating it to make sense of, like, it doesn't make sense that she had to go through this. So I thought it was definitely a great breakdown to push back against Gabby's mentality.
Yeah, it's kind of the first time that like Gabby gets left speechless by just like such a simple argument, because she's just like so indoctrinated into like the island devils and all that stuff. But just like Kaya, why did my mom deserve to die? Just say that. Like, just give me a reason, like why she deserved to get eaten alive in this moment. And she had no answer. So it was so powerful.
Especially like the Kaya's expression got like worse and worse as she got to tears, and she was like, just why did my mom have to die? I just love it for that moment. It was insane, crazy intense. Yeah, but I guess I'll move on. So number 9 was Eren and Reiner reuniting at last. That was it was so unexpected because I myself thought that they wouldn't reunite for ages, like way later in the season, and then all of a sudden it was happening, and I was like, wait, we're doing this now? And the way that they made it was like Falco that made the meeting, and it was just like Reiner's expression at that moment. I could feel his like fear and shock like to my soul from just like the look in his eyes, and Falco realizing, oh, this isn't a good guy as well. Falco's like, oh, this is Eren, this is the founding Titan, this is our enemy. It shook me because we weren't expecting it, and then we know what happened after that, and it was that whole conversation they had as well. It was just it messed with me so much because we knew this is what we were waiting more for, like for them to meet up again and to talk. I didn't even think they would talk. I thought it was just gonna go like straight to fists, but there we go. What do you guys think?
And it was like, what got me was like just the difference in Eren, because, you know, we left off in season 3 where, you know, Eren was just this like, you know, this person really led by his emotions. He had grown as a character and as a person where he wasn't making too many rash decisions, but he was still, you know, like Eren, he was still shouting and crying and yelling all the time. And he was just so deadpan and so calm in this moment. And especially up to the moment where he transformed and it was just like, oh my god, like who is this person now?
Yeah, it's definitely going to be on my list as well. So I'm definitely holding out. I'm honestly surprised it's so low on yours. That's low.
There is a lot to go through, but yeah, we can talk about it more when we get to your list and see where it is on yours. But yeah, number 8. This was Aaron versus the Warhammer Titan. I still feel like it's low, but I had to put it at 8 because it was great. It was a great moment. I don't know if you guys put it on your list, but I did. You did?
I did, yes. Spoilers.
Yes.
Should we just...
I have it as my number 8 too. Like just Warhammer Titan powers. Because, you know, we've heard so much about this. And especially with just like the fact that the Tybers, they're Eldians. They're Eldians and they run the country because of the Warhammer Titan powers. Like I remember me and Ace talking like, how badass is this Titan? Like how overpowered, how OP is this one Titan that this Eldian family can become the most powerful family and most loved family? Like everyone loves Willie Tybur. How is he so well loved because of this? And we got to see it. We really got to see it. And like it takes out Aaron in a second. Like it's like you call it a fight. It wasn't a fight. That was the thing. Like the Warhammer Titan is just like I'm so excited to see what Aaron does with it in season 4, part 2. Like if he's mastered it. Like I'm so curious about that.
Yeah, because I think the Warhammer Titan was the one Titan we had never seen before that we knew nothing about, and I was so excited to see what it was like. So to see its power, it was insane. The way that it can just make anything. But what I especially love about that scene is that Aaron breaks the one anime rule, and he doesn't wait for the Warhammer to finish transforming. He just goes right in.
Just like she's like powering up, and I think someone said that where like Aaron punches. It's like, oh, what you thought this was Dragon Ball or something, bro? Like, just nope, not waiting for any power up.
Not give her a chance to finish. And if she was in the nape, he would have taken her out just there.
Yeah,
and that's what I love about them, especially like it was the first time we saw the Warhammer, the first transformation of the season of season 4, and Aaron just takes her out like that. He doesn't wait. I love that. I love that. It's so realistic to me. Like no one waits for the other person to get ready. They just go in. So that's why I love that moment.
Yeah, it's definitely on my list as well. I'll just spoil it on my list too. I think it's cool because I feel like you said, I still think the Warhammer powers is like the coolest powers because of the idea of range. The way that I can make like a giant spear and reach farther towards you, or the way she like created spikes from the ground just by using hardening. The way that they use hardening to attack an opponent and made a crossbow, like that's an actual like long range weapon. I thought was the coolest thing ever, and I still would love to see it in like human form. But that's just my speculation as far as like what if Aaron could do that like in human form. I think that would be so cool if he could just like make a sword and like make a spear and like block stuff with his skin and hardening. I think that'd be cool.
So number 7 was when the Jaw Titan was used as the Nutcracker.
That's my number 9. That's my number 9 is cracking the egg. Yeah.
Y'all are vicious, man. Y'all are mean.
Oh God.
That was evil.
Sorry. Oh my god, I just can't get that scene out of my head. I remember when I was watching it and I was reacting to it on my channel, I had to keep myself from looking away. It was just so brutal. I was like, I kind of pictured myself in Galliard's place in that moment and how he was like, and he was screaming like, no, I don't want to do this, I want to do this, but he couldn't do anything about it. And as Aaron used his jaws to break the Warhammer Titan out of the like shell thing and take it out, it was insane. The music that was playing, and how I also really I noticed this, that it was like the music got louder and louder, and then as crack happened, it just went silent, and it
especially like
that scene.
Especially like the episode before, like we had Aaron trying to eat it himself, and then Galliard attacked him. You're waiting for that to happen in some other form, like because you know. We've watched this show, like we know that nothing ever works out the way we want it to. So I was like, oh, hurry up. Like, I was like, it wasn't so much, I was like, oh my God, this is so brutal. But also I was like, okay, hurry up and do it though. Like, it's like just slowly, tink. It was like that scene from Lost World where she's like, you know, on the glass and it's just like tink, tink, tink. Like, it's like the glass just slowly cracking. You're like, oh my God, break it. Please break it. Like,
it's like the little cracks and you're just waiting. The tension of it rising as it just gets like closer and closer.
But yeah, Galliard's helplessness in that scene like just brought so much to it, where he was just like you know, he went from being, I'm gonna single-handedly take back the Founding Titan right here, to being the one to lose the Warhammer Titan, like being the reason why they lost it. And it's just like, oh my gosh, this is such a brutal moment. Because he's just like rip, and right before that, you know, he rips his arms off, rips his legs off, and then uses them just like smushes him down. Oh God.
Yeah, I think that's one of the most brutal moments in Attack on Titan, if I'm being honest. And I know we've seen a lot, right? We've seen a lot of crazy deaths, Titan eatings, a lot of stuff that's kind of messed up and brutal. But I still felt like that was one of the most brutal because of the whole concept of it, the way that Galliard is paralyzed and Laura is paralyzed. Laura Tiber is paralyzed to do anything. They're literally both essentially like in a stasis of paralyzation where they're unable to move, and the way that Eren takes advantage of that, I thought was like the most evil thing Eren did. I was like, that's so mean, dude.
It's crazy.
Yeah, that was definitely
a lot for sure.
I think that was one of the moments that I realized Eren is not the guy we used to know. Like, he's willing to do this.
Yeah.
But yeah, that's my 10 through 7. So Andres, you want to take it?
Yeah, so at my number 10, I put a moment in here that I don't think anyone's going to have because it's a tiny itty-bitty moment. It's the moment between Reiner and the kids. I don't know why I love this moment where he just finished his battle and he goes up to greet all the warrior candidates, and he goes around like Papa Reiner, and he puts his hand on them. He's like, Udo, Zofia, you know, and he just goes each to one, and Gabby and Falco, and they all greet him like he's their favorite dad or favorite uncle. I thought it was a beautiful moment, and obviously the moment ends with him seeing a smaller version, a younger version of himself, and Bertolt and Annie and everyone else that was warrior candidates when he was younger, kind of remembering back to that time. But to me, it painted a picture of who Reiner is and who he's always been, which is kind of like this figure who's always protecting his family and that he considers them to be his family. So I love this moment. It's one of my favorite moments of the whole show. So.
It is really cute. It was one of my favorite moments with Reiner, actually. Like, also the time at the festival thing that they had, and he was buying them all the food and stuff. That was the moment. Like, it was that episode that, like, this moment. It was the moment that like Dad Reiner was born. Like, I just saw him as a dad. I was like, he's dad. Just, really I loved it. It was so different to see him like that, and how you realize that the only reason he's still living is for them. Like, he has no other reason to live except for them. And I loved the dynamic and him just seeing him like this and like loving and caring. Oh, love it.
Yeah. That's a great moment, Ace. I really do like that, because like I'm looking at my list and I'm just like, I think I have one happy moment on here, and it's pretty high up, but it's just like we get so few happy moments. And that's why when me and Ace were watching these first 2 episodes, I didn't think we were going to get to the Islanders at all this first like half of the season. I was like, we're going to spend all our time. Yeah, we're going to spend all our time with the mainland, and I'm kind of okay with it. Like, seeing the relationship build between the candidates and Reiner, like it was such a great because they're like look up to him. But it's like a weird relationship. Like, oh, I'm going to eat you one day, but I like you. It's like,
yeah, I love that moment, and I think it builds up Reiner's character even more to make him a little bit more complex than what we thought he was. My moment is my number 9 is the one that you brought up already, May, which is when Eren meets up with Reiner. Their whole interaction, their whole conversation. I think the first time they meet up too is really special, considering they have so much built up already as far as like enemies and friendship and all that. But the fact that we got to see how similar they are and how they're basically the same person, I thought was really clever writing. And then my number 8 is a moment that I don't know if you guys are going to have, but it's one of my favorite moments of the whole season. I put it at my number 8 because I still feel like it might be smaller compared to the bigger moments. But it's when this is one that talked about a lot, Ben. It's the one where Jean kind of takes the decision to not kill Gabby and Falco.
Okay.
And it's a small moment, but I feel like it's so significant considering I think everyone would have been cool with him being like, all right, y'all, gotta toss you out.
Yeah.
Gotta toss you out the airship. Yeah, like straight up. Like, I think even Connie, I still think, like, if you think about it, even Connie would have been kind of cool with that, considering he loved Sasha so much. I think he was so angry that he would have considered killing kids. But John was the only one who was like, nah, that's not what we're gonna do. We're not gonna kill kids.
I think it stays really consistent with John's character. If you go back to season 3, he was the one who had the toughest time. That he couldn't pull the trigger when it came to killing a person. He couldn't. That was why Armin had to do it for him.
That's right.
But I think it reminds us of who the character is and stays true to him. And I really like that they did that and they didn't just make him kill a kid so easily, because those aren't the Scouts we know.
Exactly, and I feel like it made sense in the moment where everything and everyone is telling him he has to execute these kids or show punishment to them. And the way he says, no, I'm not going to do that. But he also says, but I will show them some sort of punishment personally by showing them Zeke and by showing them Aaron and by confronting them with that. So they can realize that what they've done is so counterintuitive that even their own leader is against what they're doing, which is Zeke. And I thought that was so smart from John to be like, oh yeah, you want to talk some crap? Talk crap to Zeke. He joined our side because your side's so wrong. So stop saying that your side is right. So I thought John's like decision-making and leadership there was perfect.
I agree. And like, we kind of saw it, not like, I don't want to say it was a detriment in season 3, but you know, when he told Hanji to not kill Reiner. Now, like, they didn't know where the shot was, so, you know, they didn't know, like, if they needed to be eaten or, like, him interrogated. But he took that blame on himself of, like, having Reiner escape or get rescued by Zeke. So even to have that presence of mind to be like, no, this isn't the right thing. This isn't why we came here. Like, this, like, we didn't come to, like, kill kids and to kill innocents. Like, because, you know, I don't know if it's on your list either, but, you know, him preventing Flock from, you know, like, literally just blowing up apartment buildings during the attack on Liberio. And he was just like, this isn't why we're here. Like, kill all the Marley soldiers you want, but don't blow up apartment buildings. Like, there's no point to that.
Yeah, that's why I like John. I think he stole the season, if I'm being honest. I think John was like the biggest standout. I don't think I've ever liked John as much as I did this season.
This was his season for sure.
Right?
Yeah.
Like,
that's why I love it.
Yeah,
they showed him in the first episode. They showed him in the first episode. I love that. Like, he was the first of the people we know that we saw again.
First of the Paradisers.
Yeah, I think he stole this season, and I thought he was great. Finally, my number 7 is basically like all of the Little Reiner episode, his entire backstory. But if I had to pick a moment, it's the moment between him and Annie when he ran away.
I got that. I got that later. I got that later. I got that later.
But basically, Little Reiner is my
Little Reiner
7.
Was really, really good. It was one of the ones I've rewatched quite a bit, because like, and see that and I don't. It's no one's fault because of like the earthquake and anything. But I didn't get nearly as much as I got from the Reiner flashback episode as I did from the Zeke flashback episode. Like, I think it was because watching those episodes back to back, I'm like, oh yeah, fuck Zeke, get him out of here. I don't care. Yeah. Oh, you got spelled. You probably deserve it. Look at you piece of shit. Like, no.
I felt for Zeke, man. I felt for Zeke.
Honestly, I did too. All of my people that were watching my reaction, they were like, 1 minute she was like, I hate Zeke. There's no way I can forgive him. And the next minute I was like, I feel bad for Zeke. It was really bad. I was like, obviously I still hate him because I'm a major Levi fan and I hate what he's into Levi, but I can't completely blame him. You know,
I think if it had done like if it had been regularly scheduled programming, I think I'd be with you guys. But just like back to back, I was just so heated after what he did to Levi Squad. I was like, I can't, man. I can't do it.
But my thing is like, I don't think I hate Zeke anymore, but I still think he should be taken out, if that makes sense. You know what I mean? Like, I still feel like his leadership and his decision making needs to be eliminated. I don't know if that means like passed down to another Beast Titan or just killed, because I don't even know if this guy's worth being passed down at this point because he's just been so much trouble. But at the same time, I still feel really bad for him. So that's just me. You mentioned your yours was higher, right, Ben? For your moments,
it's a lot higher, honestly. It's not 10 through 7.
I'm curious to hear your 10 through 7 though.
Okay, so number 10 is another Reiner moment, because I feel like this was Reiner and John. Like, Reiner was our mainlander and John was our islander. Was his suicide prevention moment, where he literally had a gun in his mouth and he hears the kids outside. And like, I think we're all gonna have like varying degrees of like certain scenes and moments, like how specific we want to be, but just that moment in particular. And that moment was the moment like that these kids are going to be the reason he gets back into the fight. And I was right. The only reason he's going to the island is to rescue Gabby and Falco. Like, he doesn't care about the Marley agenda or anything. He's there probably to kill Aaron, because he hates Aaron, and to rescue the 2 kids. But this moment where just like you see this, like, he's just like, he can't sleep. He's having nightmares. He's thinking about all the people that he was responsible for. He's probably still thinking about Marco, you know, taking his ODM gear off of him, everything that he's gone through. And he's about to try and end it right there. And he hears the kids outside playing. He's like, nope, I have to hang on to make sure that they don't follow the same path, that they don't become, you know, me. Like, they don't have like these short 13-year lives and give everything to a country that doesn't care at all about them. So I thought that was like, oh, okay, this is the turning point right here for this character for me. And I really, really liked it.
I agree with you. I think I felt truly really bad for Reiner in that scene, just to see that he had gone that far to think of suicide. Like, we haven't had a character go through that, I don't think, in Attack on Titan before that. And it was like, it was the moment, because it was at the same time we were like getting to know Reiner's side of the story and everything. So it was just so powerful. And then realizing like it was Falco like banging his head on the wall that caused him to stop and to just go on and move on and keep going for the kids. And I thought that was just a really nice scene and really well done.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Number 9 was I literally have cracking the egg, was him using Galliard with the jaws. Number 8 was just the reveal of the Warhammer Titan and its powers. Like, I'm wondering just like, what are the endurance levels? Because, you know, Laura Tiber got tired so fast. Like, I'm curious to see like how powerful Aaron will be with that Titan. It's just like the options are so unlimited, like a sword, a whip, a crossbow, a hammer. Like, what else can you create? And the fact that it's made out of the unbreakable crystal that, you know, wraps Annie and wrapped up Laura Titan. It's like, oh my, like, it's such an OP Titan. I can't wait to see it in action.
Yeah.
And then my number 7 is another, I feel bad that 2 out of my 4 are just poor Galliard moments. But it was when he's jumping on Aaron's back and then Levi swipes him in the jaw. And then when he sees all the Survey Corps coming at him, he's like, why are they attacking me? Don't they know I'm a Titan? And it's just like, you've never been to the island, have you? And it's just like this total, like, where he thinks he's been fighting this one way. And Galliard, I'm sure, has done plenty of heroic things and plenty of badass things. We saw it in the first episode. He saved Reiner's life. He's done a lot of good things. He's a great soldier, but he has not faced the Survey Corps or the Islanders yet, because they are a whole different breed. They grew up on this stuff. They woke up, they eat, sleep, and drink fighting Titans. And just like them just all charging at him in mass, and then Levi coming right at the camera, that moment. It's and like that cliffhanger too. You're like, no, God, just waiting for that next episode. So that's my number 7 right there. Just everyone charging Galliard.
It was a great moment. Oh my God, I remember, because that was when Levi came in and I was waiting. Yeah. I was like, when's Levi coming? Where's Levi? Where's Levi? And then when I saw someone come, I was like, that's Levi. That's gotta be Levi. Before they even showed it was him, I was like, that's Levi. Because, and then they showed him and I was like, oh my God, it's Levi.
Because it's such a simple demonstration of how much more powerful Levi is than everybody, because Galliard jumped, like, Jean couldn't move, Mikasa couldn't move, no one could move in this moment, like they weren't fast, and then Levi just comes in, just done, just like right on the jaw, and like so he can't bite down. It's just like, and the fact that everyone's using, you know, thunder spears and pistols, and Levi still got his swords. Like, I love it so much.
Yeah, I feel like I don't know how much other Galliard stuff you guys have on your list, but I want to push back. I think Galliard is awesome. I think even that line that Mikasa, and I think it was Mikasa, that said that she was like, "Oh my God, what is this thing? This is not like a mirror at all."
Oh yeah, no.
That's trying to make it feel like, I think if he did go like 1 on 10, I think Galliard would win against some Survey Corps members because he's that good. I think even Aaron was kind of shocked when he did the little loop-de-loop MMA moves.
Oh yeah.
And he started scratching him, and he was like, "What's up, bro?" And he was doing all this fast moves, and everyone was like, "Oh my God, this thing is crazy."
Gallard's a little spider monkey with that jaw type, man. Like he's good, but just like, and I think that's why he has that attitude, and probably deservedly so, because he's a good soldier and he knows how to use his Titan. He's like, why are they charging me? Why aren't they afraid of me? And they're just like, nah, fam, we're coming straight at your throat.
The scouts don't care if you're attacking or not.
The scouts wanted all the smoke in that moment, and I was so about it.
Me too.
Okay, do you want to do your numbers 6 through 4?
Oh, yes. Okay, we're here. So number 6 is the conversation between Aaron, Mikasa, and Armin. Wow. And just that whole moment. I was so tempted to put it higher, but there's other ones. But this scene changed everything for me. From the beginning, when Aaron walks in out of nowhere, so casually, but also so threatening with the cut on his hand, I was like, this is different. This is not the Aaron we knew. Because the whole season, every episode, every reaction, I was like, I need them to talk. I need them to talk. I need them to talk. I wanted Aaron and Mikasa and Armin just to sit down and talk. But I was not wanting this, okay? Like, just everything that happened from when Aaron was like, oh, this is me being free, this is me getting my freedom, but at the same time, he does not look free at all. The whole scene. That's not what a free man looks like, I was thinking the whole time. And then, obviously, we came out with Mikasa and the truth about her, and then when he said he hated her this whole time, I wanted to punch him so bad at the point. Like, I was like, no, you can't do that. And her crying, but also realizing that it was true, like the Ackerman blood is a real thing, and this is like true, and it's just trying to think about everything that's happened over these last 3 seasons. It hurt. And then obviously we go to the part when Armin and him fight, and I was like, what has this come to? Like, they were the closest trio and like my favorite trio of the whole show, and then it came to this. That fight, it broke my heart.
Oh, that conversation was so devastating on so many levels. Just like how like he kept going, and then when Armin, and then I do love that Armin got the last word about like, oh, you think you're free? You're doing, like this nobody's bidding. But yeah, just that was so tough. But I'm still like kind of in the camp of like he was doing it on purpose to get them out of the way, like kind of pushing them away. Like I don't think he meant it, but it didn't make it any like it's more of like me convincing myself that wasn't real. I don't know, it might be, but yeah, that was a tough conversation.
Yeah, we still don't know if that's actually Aaron doing that on purpose or if Aaron actually means that. Yeah, I'm starting to lean more towards I think he did it on purpose. I don't think he actually hates Mikasa. I think he's just saying that. But again, we'll find out in part 2.
Yeah, but I agree with you guys. I think it was all him just putting on an act and trying to push them away in a way to protect them. Yeah, like we always get those stories where like we push you away to protect you. I think that's that. I think everything he's doing is for them. I think honestly,
but yeah,
and so
it doesn't make it easier hearing him say, I've always hated you, Mikasa. Like, oh my God, like that it broke me. Yeah. It broke me. I'm just like, no, you can't do this. But yeah, also the reveal of the Ackerman blood, where even after he says that and Armin lunges towards him and she just involuntarily pins Armin, and you're like, oh my God, it's real. What the heck? But yeah, that was just all. It reminded
me of a time that we might have seen it before. I don't know if you remember the scene when Aaron finally goes onto the ship, and then Levi goes and kicks him, and Mikasa like rushes in to stop him. Yeah. But then Armin has to stop her. I think that was also maybe an impulse as well, that she couldn't help it, and I think that shows it as well. Mm-hmm.
Oh yeah, but yeah, I don't have anything from that scene on here, just because I was like, it's a good scene, but it's not my favorite because I never want to watch it again.
It's definitely there, like the saddest scenes for me as well.
Yeah, for sure.
Number 5 was Armin's transformation in Liberia. Oof. That was amazing. So it's just the contrast of like how we go from Armin almost dying from the Colossal Titan to Armin being the Colossal Titan, and just like he creates the same damage that the Colossal Titan as Bertolt did. And I just think I love the way they present that as him like this. He looks huge, okay? He's massive and burning red. And you look around him and the destruction is just so well displayed for us to see and for him to see. And you can feel that he doesn't want to do this. You can feel it. And I love that this, like first of all, I love how this was like the first time we saw him. We were all waiting to see the Colossal Titan. But I also love that it remained Armin. Like after that, we get him talking to Bertolt, almost like, oh, this is the size that you saw. I think that was really nice that it showed that Armin is still the Armin we knew, even though he is having to use Colossal Titan to kill so many people.
Yeah, this is my number 6 moment, spoiler alert for me. And it's incredible, right? Because we thought, a lot of us thought, I thought that Yelena was Armin. And maybe that was who he was, because they kind of look similar still. But then when we actually get Armin's reveal, and I knew it was coming, it felt very much like the Blackwater Bay episode of Game of Thrones, for anyone who gets that reference, where you see the little boat floating and it's a giant bomb that goes off. But it's Armin who takes off his hood, his Survey Corps hood, and he's like, yo, sorry guys, I'm so sorry. And he just blows up the fleet. And then my favorite part of the whole moment was Peake's and Galliard's reaction. Yeah. When they're like, oh my God, it's the Colossal Titan, and it's just the entire fleet just gets obliterated. 30,000 strong is gone in the blink of an eye. And I was like, that is one of the coolest ways to introduce probably the most powerful Titan we know, which is the Colossal Titan. And I think that was epic. The fact that we know that it's Armin, so at least we know it's in good hands.
Yeah, just the pain look he has on his face when he takes his hood off, because he knows what he has to do in this moment. And as we learn later through the season, that he was forced to do this. Like, they didn't want to go attack Liberia. Like, you know, Eren going to mainland, he's like, well, we have to go save Eren again. And also that this was a turning point in the fight, because like the whole army's marching on Liberia. The scouts are in there. They don't have a guaranteed out right now. And, you know, Eren's kind of losing to the Warhammer Titan. Like they're starting to struggle, you know, now that the Cart Titan and the Jaw Titan are out of their cage. The Beast Titan just showed up, and we didn't know that Zeke had turned traitor yet. So it was like a very big turning point in the battle. And even Peake was like, why, Galliard, chill out. We don't need to rush. They need to rush. They're the ones slowly being surrounded by our army and our navy. We have the 3 of us here and our war chief. We're good. And then the dock blows up, and it was just like, oh my God, like this is such a huge moment. But yeah, just for me, it was what you're saying, May. It was like the look on his face before, and then especially when he gets out of it, and he's like, so this is what you saw, Bertolt, like how many times? And it's like, oh my God, it's just awful.
Yeah. I completely agree.
Was that your number 4, May?
Yeah, that was, no, 5.
Oh, okay.
That was 5. Number 4 is the Marley invasion that we saw at the very end of the season.
Oh, okay. I like it. That's good.
Reiner stare down.
Yeah, it was just everything about that. First, like when I thought Peake had turned and had joined them, I was so happy. I was like, yes, Peake. Even though I'm not on his side, I loved the thought of her like turning to them. But then it's just the moment when she turns around and she's like, you're the enemy. She points at Eren, and then Galliard comes out of nowhere and just takes his legs. And I'm like, this is the first time in the season that we've seen Eren surprised and things aren't going as he had planned. Like, he did not see this coming. And if he had been just like a few centimeters more forward, he could have been eaten just there. Yeah. It's insane. It's just, that was so great. And then just the end with him transforming and the stare off between him and Reiner is like, Reiner, like, come at me. This is like happening. This is the final showdown. It's happening. And they ended at that. And I was like screaming at the end, like, why? Why do you have to end it there? I'm so excited to see what happens at the end of that. But yeah, everything about that moment was just great. And
what was your guys' translation? Did it say "Bring it on, Reiner" for you? Because I was like, I didn't know they had that phrase in this world, but I loved it. It was just like, "Bring it on, Reiner." I was like, okay, let's go. I'm about it.
Yeah, he called him out.
He just called him out.
Yeah, I love that moment too, and I like the idea. Galliard twice was like, "Yo, long live Galliard, the founding Titan." If he got it, Just so close.
So close.
My favorite part of that moment was Peak's description of her decision making and how she said that I'm not for Marley, but I am for my comrades. And to me, it made sense that everything she said before about how Marley and how she doesn't trust Marley still applies, but that doesn't mean she's going to team up with Eren and that she's still going to fight for her warrior candidates. And I still feel like that is everything that the Warriors kind of believe. Galliard, Reiner, and Peak are kind of on their own side and not quite Marley's side, but they still don't want to trust Eren because they know that Eren might be a little too much of a loose cannon. So I like Peak's description in that moment. I thought it was a great moment for sure.
Yeah, everything about that finale and those last like 10 minutes really worked. And honestly, I missed Galliard the first time when Pete goes, hi, like there's like a little anime girl moment. I didn't see Galliard in the crowd, so when he comes up from the top, I was like, what the? Like, I was just surprised as Eren was. Like, so that it worked even more for me. And then, yeah, like we knew that there was a part 2 coming, but especially how they ended, I was like, oh, you sons of bitches. Yeah. You really got to end with the invasion happening right now. Like, oh my God, so good. I can't wait for winter 2022, but I'm still mad about how good of a cliffhanger that was.
Yeah. Also, I think it was interesting because we saw Peak like a few episodes ago, but then with so much happening, we kind of forgot that she was here. Yeah. And then she popped up again. That episode, she just came out of nowhere. And then we were like, okay, it's finally happening. The invasion is finally happening. I was waiting, but it was like in the back of my mind, but I kind of forgotten about it with everything that happened with like Zeke and Levi, the episode before. I'd forgotten. And then it just happened. And I was like, well, here we go.
Yeah.
Oh, it was great. Yeah. But that's my 6-4. So, Andres?
Yeah, so I already said most of mine. So my number 6 was Armin coming back with the Colossal and the shock of that. My number 5 was a Warhammer and her power set, showing off that. That's my number 5. And then my number 4, I don't know if you guys are going to have this. I said Sasha's father's speech about the children in the forest. I thought that was a great
That's my
moment.
number 5 too.
Yeah, there you go. See? I thought that was a great moment because I really did feel like it kind of described everything that I was kind of leaning towards, which was we can't just say, oh well, the kids have been brainwashed. We got to decapitate them kids. And I really did feel like Sasha's dad brought that balance as far as like, yeah, I get it. These kids are crazy. And these kids are corrupt and they are bloodthirsty like Gabby, but it doesn't mean we should just execute. We are the ones who should carry that burden, being adults and being the ones who are older should take on this burden and try to bridge the gap between the kids. And I really like how he described how this, if we are raised in this world and we let the children become corrupt, then we lose because that's the next generation. So his entire speech to me was essentially what John did like 4 episodes earlier when he was like, we're not just going to kill kids, like no matter what they did, because they're kids and there's still a chance to bring them back and to get rid of the brainwashing that they did, which is why I still have a little bit of hope for Gabby. Fingers crossed, come back to the light side, Gabby. But that's my 6-4.
No, like that moment, that's my number 5. So we can still talk about that if you want to, Ace, because that moment, like, especially just because having the person that killed your daughter, and especially it was the moment after, because the speech itself was like, that's such a great moment. But then you see and then you see Kaya, try and kill Gabby, and then you see the whole family just sobbing because like it wasn't some easy decision for Mr. Browse to make. Like, of course he's mad. Of course he doesn't like Gabby for killing his daughter. But it's also, like, just what he says, like, this war is our responsibility. It's our burden to bear. Like, we're not going to keep passing down this burden to the next generation or it will never end. And that's just like the ripple effect that Sasha has on this entire season cannot be understated. And it was such a great and powerful moment with Niccolo holding the knife and he just like, give me the knife, Niccolo. And you really don't know what he's going to do. And then the speech he gives is just so good. And it's one of my favorite moments. I love it so much.
I really wanted to include this in my list, but it just didn't make it. But I do love it. I think also one of the biggest things about it is that it shows Gabby again that like these people aren't all bad, and that you were brainwashed, and that I think it's another step to her changing. You know, she can't ignore it, especially after when we get Armin and Mikasa there as well, and they're not going to kill her. Mikasa saves her from being killed by Kaya. Like it's just so good, and I just had major respect for Sasha's father, like to see your daughter's killer and to not kill but actually forgive. That's just major respect for him.
Yeah, and just like what Armin says to her, going back to your moment where it's just like you just want kill and kill and kill. That's all you think about. It's like someone else I know, and it's like, okay, if you didn't get the direct correlation between Gabby and Eren, it's literally right there. Like Armin literally says it, like puts it to you on a silver platter right there.
Yeah.
All right,
but I think it made sense for sure. Yeah, go ahead. Ben.
No. Yeah, I mean, I could talk about that speech for so long because it's such a pivotal moment. And especially when Pete comes in, like when Eren, walks into Gabby's cell later, she's like, why am I feeling sorry? Like, these are, like, you can see her, like, finally having that internal battle of, like, who these islanders actually are. Are they the devils? Because I've been shown all the mercy all the time, even after I keep killing people and, like, causing major havoc everywhere. I'm still not dead.
Yeah.
So my number 6 is my favorite line of the entire season. Welcome to the filthy island of filthy devils. You're gonna love it. As long as you like pig piss, you can leave if you want, but not on a ship. And that's Levi. And Levi is my god. He is my senpai. And I love this whole moment because we're like, okay, how did they get this technology? How did they get to the island? Like, what has been going on? So it's the flashback we wanted, but also just like there's such few moments of levity lately in like this season, but when it hits so well. So Levi just like standing there like, yeah, dude, like you could go, but you're gonna swim. Like, like he knows he's in like actual control of this whole moment. So just that was like such a perfect thing where they captured the first ship and it was like, oh, don't move or we're gonna shoot your guy. Like, don't you know? Like, what are you doing? And then like after when they have all the defectors on their side, just like, oh yeah, welcome to the filthy island, like, because he's just like, oh, this is what you guys think of us, okay, this is what we're gonna be then. And it's Levi is like, he's the most deadpan person, but he might be the funniest person on the show. He might be the funniest character on the show, and I don't know how that happened, but he might be.
Yeah, I'm with you there. I'm a Levi fan as well, you know that. I love, and just that line, it had me laughing because it goes back to what they were saying before about them, and then he just takes that and uses it himself. Yeah, which I love. And like you said, his humor is just, it's weird that he is the funniest character when he is the most deadpan, like you said. Just he's so stoic all the time, but I love that. And just the way he says it without an ounce of like change expression or humor or anything. He just says it like the Levi way, but it's so funny to us. And we needed that for like everything that's been happening. We needed the moment like that.
Absolutely.
I could imagine him passing out flyers that says that. Welcome to paradise.
Yeah. Welcome to the filthy island of filthy devil.
Yeah. Filthy devils and pig piss. I also like Levi's moment when we talked about it for like 5 episodes, Ben, but when he looks up at Connie, so disappointed and so destroyed.
Like, that's like,
you guys got so damn big. What happened?
If we had honorable mentions, that would be like number 11. That's my number 11 moment where just because I have that saved as a meme that I'm going to be using on Twitter all the time. Where it's just like he's just like looking at Connie like, you traitor, like
you betrayed me. We were in this together,
right? Oh my
short homies for life.
I love Levi's face in that moment. Just the face he makes. It's so funny.
Yeah. And then my number 5 was Sasha's father with Gabby. And then my number 4, I think I made you not talk about it, so we can talk about it now, Ace, was Reiner's flashback of Marcel's death.
Yeah.
And that moment, especially because the night before where Marcel, because, like Galliard's one is like, how did you get the armored Titan? Like, you're terrible. Like, how did they pick you? And then, Marcel tells him, I'm sorry. Like, I didn't want my brother to be a Titan, so I recommended you. Like, you're not supposed to be here.
Yeah.
And then it ends up that, you know, Marcel saves, and we've seen part of this flashback of, you know, Marcel saving Reiner, but just that conversation that he has with Annie afterwards, where he's just so driven to prove himself and so driven to make his mom proud. And we see the moment of in the parade where he goes to try and talk to his father, who's not an Eldian, he's a Marleyan. He's like, "Don't talk to me, like you'll get me hung. Like, get out of here. Like, I'm leaving." And just like so much of that like hits so hard with so much of the character of who Reiner is and who he became, and seeing that they had to do this all like 12 years old, and it was like you don't realize that, you know, like in season 2 when they're revealed, like, oh yeah, like all these traitors, we hate them. It's like, no, they had to break down the wall at 12.
Yeah. Yeah, no, I love that moment because I feel like I've always been on board for Reiner, because going back to what you said as far as Reiner and Bertolt revealed themselves, I always felt like it's just so well told, because we always, I don't know about you guys, but when Reiner did turn, I still felt like there's something behind it, versus Annie, when she turned, it felt like very nefarious and evil, and Annie's, you know, twirling dudes around and taking out Survey Corps members, versus Reiner, we felt like there was something there, something behind it, like he still had a heart. And obviously we got that throughout season 2, at the end of season 2, when he tells himself about his split personality. But to me, Reiner has always been that tragic figure, which is why he's one of my all-time favorite Attack on Titan characters. But I felt like this backstory finally gave you a little bit more clarity as far as why Reiner is who he is.
It was definitely something that we needed, and I think it was really well done, just finally seeing the moment, because of course we'd heard them talking about it before when they came to Ymir, like when they talked about Marcel having been eaten by Ymir, but we never got to see it and what came of it. But finally getting to see it play out, and how much it affected what happened after, like Reiner taking on the leadership role and everything, I think it was really nice to have us see that. The whole episode, just seeing their backstory, really gave us insight into why they're doing what they are. And it's another reason that Reiner changed, like, my opinion on him a lot.
So now that we're at our top 3, are we all going to have the same top 3?
I don't know.
I'm very curious, though. I'm very curious of what
I think we're all I'm looking at my top 3 now, and I'm like, all right, you guys haven't said it yet. I'm pretty sure we're gonna have the same top 3. I'm curious.
So let's go one at a time with like what our number 3s are, then what our number 2s are, and what our number 1s are.
Okay.
I think my 3 is not one that you might have, actually, because it's just a me thing. My number 3 is just the whole Scout invasion. Like you mentioned the bit when Levi comes in before, but for me, I just loved all of it, because it was just the first time that we've seen the Scouts. Again, we've been waiting for this. I'd been waiting every episode. Is it now? Is it now? Is it now? We saw Aaron, we saw John at the very beginning, but we'd never seen them all. And just the sound of the OGM gear was the first thing we heard. It was like, they're here. They're finally here. And I lost it. I was like, yes. And then Mikasa comes in, and her entrance, amazing. I loved it. I loved every second of it. And then seeing like John and Sasha and Connie, how they've all changed their looks as well. Just their new designs with the time skip and everything. It was what I've been waiting for, and it happened. It finally happened, and their whole like new ODM gear, like their whole new outfits and stuff. And then of course Levi at the end, because I love Levi, and that moment was insane. So I just put that all into one moment. But for me, the Scout invasion was just great. Like we talked about before, with all the Scouts coming in at like Jaw Titan, it was just amazing.
I mean, you guys, I guess I was right, because spoiler alert, my number 1 moment is the Scouts coming in. Literally everything you just said, May. The sound of the ODM gear flying over Peak, and Peak just getting like
Peak's reaction, like PTSD,
like not the Scouts, and it's just like
you hear like the Kill Bill music going,
But the Scouts coming in to me, and then taking down the Marley military is what I wrote too, because I thought that was very specific. We talked a lot about what Eren did to Liberio and how he killed kids and all that. But when the Scouts came in, they were just taking down the same people who were making fun of Eldians and who were like tossing them in the front lines in the very first episode. So us as an audience, we were like, yeah, get rid of these dudes, like go scouts. Like we were cheering in that moment. At least I felt like we were, with the thunder spears and with the guns, like straight up flying in the air and shooting them down. I was like, this is incredible. That's my favorite moment of the whole season. It really is.
It deserves it, honestly. Also, going back to what you said, I always say that I'm not on either side. I don't know what side I'm on anymore. But at that moment, you just kind of revert back to the state that we were in season 1, season 3. Like, these are our people. These are the people we're cheering for.
Yeah, but I always felt like the Marleys, back me up on this, Ben. I always felt like, you're right, it's always gray, but it was never gray with the Marleyans.
No. They
the
are
Marleyans deserve to die.
Like, they are the villains.
They
like,
threw people in the front lines in the first war. They were like, yeah, you guys deserve crap. We're gonna kill you like suicide bombers. Remember when the guy was telling them to be suicide bombers in episode 1? The guy who was making fun of them?
Yeah.
Like that guy was like, all right.
Yeah,
if you're shooting at that guy.
That guy's on the airship. I can't wait for him to die in part 2. Like that guy needs to have a horrible, horrible death. Magath, I don't like him, but like even Magath he was like
deserved to be shot.
Magath deserved to die, but even he was like, when Tiber was like, we're gonna wipe all of them out, and he's like, I don't know if I can even do this. Like, because like he'll sacrifice people in war, but just massacring, innocent civilians. Even he's like, whoa. Yeah. At least a little bit. He's still been along with the plan, so he's not abstained from any guilt. But yeah, I'll say it because I have a more specific moment about that. But my number 1 is now or never, Mikasa, and I literally made a shirt out of it because like that line, because like that's when Eren is beaten. The Warhammer has completely and he just goes, now or never, Mikasa, and she comes in, kneecaps hits the Warhammer in the nape, so you think it's dead, and that's when all the other scouts come in as well, where they just like jump right over the building. So that's also my number 1, is just now or never, Mikasa, because that is the most badass line in the history of the show, and there's some badass lines in the history of the show.
We all agree that the whole salvation was just epic.
That's actually I defined that moment as my number 3 too. Is the now or never Mikasa entrance, because I feel like that's a specific moment versus like the scouts coming in being another moment. It's all the same episode, but that's just my opinion.
It's just my way of trying to condense it and to save numbers. That's the only reason I put it all in one.
Yeah,
because I could have put Levi coming in on his own and Mikasa coming in on her own, and just the Scout mission as well. But also, it's just me saving numbers.
Mikasa with like the linebacker like outfit going on, and like she looked different. Like she looked the most different.
Thunder spears, dude.
Yeah,
like
the double thunder spears, like giant shoulders. I was like, oh my god, like who is this?
maybe I should have saved the reveal. But my number 3 is the train car scene, the flashback, and not just like the train car scene of him being like, oh, I don't want any of you guys to get the Titans because I love all y'all. You guys are important to me. For me, it's the Connie and Sasha back and forth that is the most perfect thing, because it's such a heavy season. And for just a minute, we have these 2 dopes going back and forth. It was like, you can't get the Titan. You're stupid. Obviously, it should be me. And just like the rational way Connie says this, like, wait, but you said someone stupid can't get the Titan, but you're stupider than me. Huh? Like just them going back and forth. Like when I say I was crying laughing at, like, I've never laughed that hard at Attack on Titan before, because it's like, it's not a funny show, but there's funny moments. It was the funniest thing. Like, and just with, because you know this show's not gonna have a happy ending. You know that we're probably gonna lose mostly, if not everyone, that's in that train car by the end of this show, and I'm not looking forward to it. But in this moment, I was so happy to just have like this incredible moment of levity and humor, which is, you forget that these are 18, 17-year-old kids like that are dealing with this. So yeah, they're dopes. They're idiots. Like, and just especially Connie and Sasha have grown into incredible characters, but they're still stupid. Like, Connie's an idiot. Sasha's an idiot. And we love them. And so just like, and just like this serious, intense look they both have on their faces, like, why? What? And so that is my number 3 moment, and I was laughing so hard. I rewatched that moment so many times. I was laughing so hard.
I love it. It was just everything about it, from Aaron talking about how he cares about them all and all of them blushing. That was what I loved. It was
blaming
a
the
beautiful
sunset
moment. Yeah. I remember like it's the sunset's fault. So like John's like, yeah, it's the sunset. We can't help it. We can't help it. But they're all honestly just it reminds us of who they are, and it was a great contrast to what we'd just seen the episode before and stuff. I was like, this is the Aaron that we used to know. And I wonder if any of the Aaron is still in him. And it was a beautiful scene. It was something that we needed, and it's just a nice light-hearted moment as well. And I also wanted them to talk about who would take Aaron's Titan as well. Like they never really talked about that, and I like that. I never wanted any of them to take it after him. I didn't want that, so I'm glad they discussed that. And Aaron made it clear that he does care about them. That's why I still think he still cares about them. He's still doing everything for them.
Yeah, I don't think they'd have like that specific of a scene and it go that way if that wasn't like on purpose. The show doesn't do anything lightly. All right, so what's your number 2 moment, May?
It's we probably expect it. Number 2 was Levi versus the Beast Titan round.
Number 2, baby, let's go!
Yes!
That's my number 2 as well.
Yes!
Yeah.
Oh, where do I even begin with this? It was just everything to me. It was the moment that I wanted so bad. But it's just a bit dampened by everything that Aaron had to go through, and Levi had to go through before that. Like, the build-up of it, of like, what's his name? Zeke running and screaming and then transforming all of them. Levi having to kill all of them before he can even get to Zeke, killing his comrades. Obviously, that's a really tough thing for him, but he does it because he's Levi. And then going after Zeke. But what I love is that Zeke chose the worst possible place to start fighting Levi. The trees. It's the giant trees that we had back from season 1. And it's Levi's perfect place to take him out. And just like before, just like his first fight with the Beast Titan, it's domination. Like, he uses the tree branches, which I love, to disguise himself. And then the whole time that he's speaking, he actually sounds kind of like scary.
Yeah.
Kind of scares me, his voice, and he's just, it really shakes me to my core. And then he takes him out, and he's not holding back. He's like, the only reason he hasn't killed Zeke is because he wants someone else to eat him for the power. And I would be waiting for that. Like, we got round 1, we got round 2, which didn't even really count, and then we got round 3, and this was it. This was like, it felt like this was the point that he was going to keep his promise to Erwin. Yet somehow we saw what happened after, but it was everything to me. I love the fight, and Levi's just awesome. His fighting is just awesome. Like, what do I even say?
Ben, I talk a lot. You and I talked a lot about, or at least I do talk a lot about how Attack on Titan is that it has so much cinematic nature to it, where it's very cinematic. And this to me felt, maybe besides the Survey Corps invasion, this felt the most cinematic. Maybe this one even more than the Survey Corps invasion, because I love the setup, the execution of it, and then the way they brought it back down and then build it back up. As far as like, you know, everyone turns into the Titan, and it's like a shot that just goes all the way out of the forest slowly, and it reveals everyone turning. And then from there, it turns into, it cuts to Zeke escaping on the Titan. And he's just talking to himself, having a good old time, being like, sorry, dude, I had to go. But in the very small corner, and there's no music at all, it's just quiet. You see Levi come up in the tiny corner, and he's just flying around, and then he cuts down the Titan. It really is. And then the way that Levi, like you said, May, turns very... I called him the boogeyman in this scene, where he turns into the boogeyman, where he's literally a villain, and he's taunting Zeke, and he's like, you thought you could escape from me? And he's like yelling at him, and he's like, you think I would have killed my own men? And he's like, it felt like a giant, like, evil bad guy chasing you, and you're just like crapping your pants because you know he's going to take you down. The whole way it was set up, I just thought it was beautiful, crazy, insane, absolutely amazing. I loved it.
They did it so perfectly, because with how Levi, how bad he beat that ass in season 3, you're like, there's like, you weren't worried about them rematching, but with the odds so stacked against Levi, with him being so, and they showed him, you know, like not killing the first guy, cutting the hand off the second guy, looking at the nape of the third guy and being like, I don't know if I can do this. And then, you know, there being what, like 40, 50 soldiers like in the forest, all Titans. And it was just like, man, maybe he just like gets away, or maybe Levi's banged up now and he can't fight. But no, like, and especially like it was such a slasher moment where like, oh, did you see Jason or Freddy in the corner right there, right before he attacks? And because he goes and then it cuts back to Zeke, like you just see it and then it cuts back to Zeke and then the Titan falls. It wasn't like this immediate thing. You see him just like. And it was just like, oh, like it was like the Galliard moment where like unless you look for it, you're not gonna see it. And then just like, and yeah, it felt like, I think it goes back to the Ackerman blood thing, because he's the last order Erwin gave him was to kill the Beast Titan, and that's like his person. And so like whenever he faces,
that's why he's so mean to Zeke.
Yeah, that's why he's so mean. And like you saw like Zeke like, oh, kind of talking shit. He's like, oh, don't look at me like that, Levi. I might shit my pants or something. And like it's like, oh, like, and you're like, oh, okay, Zeke, you're talking tough now. You're talking tough now. And then the moment he sees Levi still there, you can see Zeke just panic. And like he tears open the Titan and like is throwing chunks at him. And it's just like, it's nothing. Cuts off the branches to distract him. And yeah, I don't think he was even trying to take him alive. I think if Zeke would have died right there, Levi wouldn't have cared. Like, but just the fact that he lived through those thunder spears is like, all right, we'll have somebody eat you. I don't really care. And just like, it's like you smell like crap. Like it's just like it just Levi doesn't. He hates Zeke, and we knew this moment was going to happen, and it lived up to the hype. Very few times, like the show is so good about living up to its own hype, and it does so well. And it's nothing. Like he was just like Levi. He's just like, and especially, and it's such a heartbreaking thing to hear him say, like, you don't like. I've killed so many of my own men. In ways because, like, you know, he's given them orders with the same way that Erwin felt, and the same way that Flock felt about Erwin, with like, oh, like we need a devil to fight a devil, like that's how they feel, and like that's what he means, like that I've killed so many of my own men, and it's such a heartbreaking thing for him to say, but it's so true, and just everything about that works, and it's like, yeah, just kill him. It's like, it's so good.
Yeah.
It was when they all transformed, and I was like torn, like, will Levi be able to handle them all? Will he kill his comrades? Will he be able to handle this? But we remember that Levi is probably, for me, I always say this, Levi is probably the character that cares the most out of all of them. He's been through too much, and he carries all of that on him. From the very beginning, we saw with Petra and the rest of his squad from the beginning, he's carried that all, like even before with Isabel and Farland, like in the OVAs and everything. Yeah, he has lost so much, and he carries that, and he cares so much. So I panicked a little bit. I was like, will he be able to take care of all of these Titans? But he did, and it must have hurt him so much as well. But he doesn't let that stop him. It drives him, actually. I think he has that extra drive, not just Erwin's promise, but the drive of all of these comrades that he just had to kill, going at Zeke. He doesn't hold back, and he's furious. And I love to see it, because it shows people think that Levi doesn't care because he's so stoic all the time, but he does.
No, but like, because that was like another honorable mention was like after, you know, Levi, right before, it was literally probably in this, it could be kind of the same moment as the, you know, the why are they charging me? I'm a Titan. Just like him saying, like when the Beast Titan shows up, yeah, don't die on me. It's like, don't you dare die on me. And it's just like, that's how Levi expresses emotions, where like that's the order he gives. It's not like, hey, you know, like go left, flank him right, or whatever. It's like, don't die on me. Like, this is the fight we've been waiting for. Don't you dare die on me. And it's just like, oh, just that emotion that Levi gives and how much he cares about his soldiers. Like, it's so great.
Yeah, he's definitely. I'm with you, May, and I'm with you, Ben. I think he is the most caring leader of the team, even maybe more than, like, obviously more than Erwin. But I still go back to that scene in season 2 where it's Hanji, Erwin, and Levi and Pixies, and all of them are saying, "Hey, by the way, Connie's mom turned into a Titan. We think Titans might be people." And Levi is just like low-key on the verge of tears. He's like, "You're telling me I've been killing people? Like, this is awful.
Humans all the time,
yeah, and versus like the way that Hanji, Pixies, and Erwin react, they're just like, yeah, this sucks. But Levi's just like, his face is in his hands, so we know that Levi is probably the most caring guy there is, which is why it's kind funny, the fact that he is so stoic. But yeah.
Honestly, it's just Levi. I love Levi.
It really is. It's just Levi.
All right, so I think we've all said ours, right? So Ben, you said yours. I said mine. May, what's your number one?
What's your number one, May?
Oh, the one we've been waiting for. Okay, number one for me is Aaron's transformation in the video.
Okay.
I just put it there. It was just, it took me completely by surprise. I just think it was incredible. I mean, where do I begin? I mean, I think because we know Aaron, and even though he changed, we didn't know how much he changed. But I never for a moment thought he would sacrifice civilians. I never imagined he would do that. And that's why that moment took me completely off guard. He did not hold back. He went and in that building that had civilians in it, people who were not involved in anything, and he just transformed right there and didn't care. I think everything about that scene, the build-up of Reiner being on his knees crying for forgiveness, and Aaron's like, yeah, when he took his hand, I thought they were gonna maybe work it out somehow, but no, he was like, oh, I'm gonna transform. And then Reiner going in to protect Falco, Aaron just his look he gives, he's so determined but also stoic at the same time, and then he transforms and is crazy, and he takes Tiber, and it's the way that they direct it and the way that they make him look so monstrous. He's the enemy. They try to make it seem like he is the enemy. He killed the civilians. He destroyed this building. He took out Willie and the stage. He's got rocks flying at all the crowd, and we see the crowd's terror. And that's when you're like, okay, Aaron is kind of a monster here. I like that. They don't sugarcoat it. They don't make it seem like he's good. This isn't a good thing to do. And it was really impactful for me because, like I said, Aaron doesn't kill civilians usually, but what's he doing now? He's killing civilians, and he's not thinking twice about it. And that's why that moment is just number one. Everything, also just the music they used for it, and everything about it.
God, that should be the number one moment. It's just the music for this whole season was just so on point, just so good.
The best soundtrack.
Yeah,
it's crazy how it's different every season, slightly different. But it feels like it fits, right? Because season 3 music, I was like, it's not going to top this. And then season 4 came, and I was like, oh my God. I think the season 4 soundtrack might be the best one yet. And it gets better every season. I like that moment too, May. And you're right, how it doesn't change POV, right? Where, back me up on this, Ben, where we're following Reiner's POV for 5-6 episodes, and it still hasn't changed as far as the direction of the story. So we see this entire moment of Aaron and the way it builds up, and then Tiber giving that speech, and we still see it from Reiner's POV, which is why when Aaron does transform and does his whole massacre thing, it's from Reiner's perspective, which still has that kind of viciousness to it, which is why I think it's so fascinating. The way we're seeing Aaron from Reiner's POV, and from Reiner's POV, he looks like a giant monster who's destroying his hometown. So I thought it was amazing. Well,
especially the setting, because they set it in the basement to where they just trapped the John Card Titan, and we're like, oh yeah, so you can't transform underground. So that's why Aaron's doing it, because he doesn't want Reiner to transform. That's why he's setting this meeting down here. It was like, no, it's such a. And just the way, how we kind of, you always bring up, the Bertolt Reiner transformation where, and then he puts the words right back in Reiner's face, I just keep moving forward and I'm going to face my enemies. And just as he's shaking his hand, starts to transform. And it's just oh my God, this is the coldest, this is an album cover right here.
Yeah.
And it's such a shocking moment. Because even as it's happening, it's oh no, you know what they did? The scouts, they evacuated this specific apartment building above them. He had all. It's no, Aaron didn't care. He knew what he was doing in this moment. He thought that the ends justified the means in this moment, and he wasn't going to miss this chance to. He thought he was killing the Warhammer Titan. He didn't know it was Laura. He thought it was Willie, probably, or maybe he just wanted to kill Willie Tiber.
I think he was counting his bets. He was like, if I had to place a bet, it's probably Willie. Let me try it out.
Yeah, it's a pretty safe bet. It's a pretty safe bet.
Yeah.
But yeah, it's just it was such a shocking moment, especially after the conversation they just had. You really did think, and me and Ace talked about this plenty times, they're gonna reach an agreement, because I think Reiner's seen the light of how terrible Marley is, and like, oh, they're gonna come back and it's all this, and then she's like, nope. Eren woke up and like I'm getting sick of this phrase, but he woke up and chose violence that day. And man, just after what he does after that too, like just like belly flopping on the stands and just going after everybody, like not caring who's in the crowd. If you're around, you're gonna get stomped. It's crazy.
Yeah. I mean, like I said, I never imagined he would go down that path, and that was when I was like, Eren, like, what do I think about him? Like, I don't know what to think anymore. I know a lot of people, I read the comments in my video, obviously, and some people were like, oh yeah, Eren's great, he's doing amazing, he's the hero and everything, and then the other people were like, he's a villain now. He's a villain to me, and I don't care what you guys say, he's a bad guy. And I was just like in the middle. I've always told myself I'm not going to make a decision on Eren until we get his side of the story. I'm still on that. I'm not going to make a decision on him until we get his side on what he's been thinking this whole time, his plan. So that's why I still don't know what I think, but I do not agree with him killing civilians. And
no, and that's the thing, is that like we know there's gonna be a show where it shows Eren's like point of view and perspective, because that's what like this show has shown us, that there is a perspective for literally every action that takes place. For every action, there's an opposite side. For every yin, there's a yang. Because now, like, you know, I was one of those people that was with Eren, like, how could Reiner and Bertolt do this? They were friends forever. Like, I don't get it. And then you see why. And just like, oh, why is Annie doing what she did? That's why. Like, who are Gabby and Falco? Oh, this is why. Like, all these things, like, you got to give the show time, because it's done it. It's answered every question we had. Granted, there's a million more that it's posed for us that hopefully will get answered. But it's answered every question, so I'm so excited. Ace, what was your number one again?
My number one was the Survey Corps arriving. So it's like the ODM gear flying over peak.
Yeah.
Yeah. So either way, I think we're going to find out soon what Eren's motivation is. But I still feel like there's a difference between what's been happening. I'm never going to be quite like fully Team Eren, but I'm never going to be like completely off it either and be like, he's the bad guy. Because I don't know. Because I still feel like he did specifically have a mission there to go after the Marley military command, which is what he says afterwards when he's like, yeah, I took down their commanding unit, which is why he does belly flop into the stands. So, but he did kill a lot of people.
That image of him just belly flopping and just double fisting them, it was just ridiculous. Yeah. But yeah, just like him, if he's thinking like total 5-head of like, you know, killing everybody and then leaving Magath in control by himself to make this rash attack, I don't know. Like I'm still hoping for a happy ending, but I know I'm stupid for it.
Fingers crossed.
Fingers crossed, because especially with how Reiner like said, like, oh, well, you can't land on the north end because that's where the dock is and that's where we've lost all the ships. Oh, well, you can't land on the south end because that's where the cliffs are. And oh, you can't land on the west. It's like he was purposely playing them. Yeah, and then for him to be like, no, we can't wait. Like Zeke if you give Zeke 6 months to prepare, we'll never win. We need to attack now. And so I'm hoping against hope that Reiner's still like trying to play both sides, but we'll see.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And my number one again was Now or Never Mikasa, because that's just the most badass line, and I paid $30 for a cheap custom made tee just for that line on it, because it was so good. I love it so much. Worth it, absolutely worth it.
Yeah, this was fun, man.
It was a lot of fun.
Yeah, I'm so happy that actually all our number ones are different. Because I was scared that we all got the same one, but it's really nice seeing different perspectives, and we all saw it in a different way. I like that.
Same.
Yeah, but this was so much fun. Oh my god, I love going through top 10s and just sharing it with you guys. It's so much better than me just talking to the camera on my own. So thank you so much for joining me. Before we wrap up, where can people find you guys?
Yeah, you can find me on Twitter and Instagram at Squad Leader Race, and then my YouTube channel where I also talk about Attack on Titan at First Cut.
Everywhere at the Ben Goddard Guys, Twitch, Twitter, YouTube. I think me and Ace are probably going to either be jumping into My Hero or Jujutsu Kaisen, like both. Or all the above. Yeah, both. Yeah. There's thank God My Heroes come out, because Attack on Titan and Jujutsu Kaisen ended on the same weekend. So I was like, what am I going to do with myself?
Exactly.
Yeah. So catch us over there on the First Cut YouTube channel as well.
I'll make sure to check that out. I'm also reacting to My Hero Academia Season 5, which has been a blast so far.
It is.
Oh, so good. It's so good so far.
That's my boy.
Yeah.
I'm very excited to see how it goes from here. Do you need something after Attack on Titan? It's just so sad. I feel like my Sundays just aren't the same now.
No.
Sad.
Yeah.
But yeah, I love this. I love Attack on Titan. I cannot wait for part 2, as I'm sure you guys are very excited for it too. And we'd love to hear what everyone else thinks of the season, what your top 10s were. Do let me know what you agree with, what you don't agree with. And yeah, that wraps up. So thank you for watching. I hope you enjoyed this video. Feel free to like and subscribe if you did, and follow me on Twitter. Until next time, bye.